welcome to another edition of Q&A with Ari Blue here on Facebook Live. I'm Ari Bluestein. Thank you for joining me here on a Wednesday night here at about 6:30 p.m. And, it's funny, last week we had the postponement due to the snow. We moved it to Wednesday, but hey, we got such great responses and a lot of great feedback that we kept it on a Wednesday night here at 6:30. So thank you for joining us here. And again, you can submit questions as always. Use the hashtag AskAriBlue. You can submit it right here on Facebook Live. You can also submit it on Twitter at @the_SFBN or at AriBlueDU. And we already have some questions that came in, so thank you so much to everyone who submitted so far. Our first question comes from Mike C. This question is, how many of the local teams do you think will win state championships this weekend in Hershey? That's a great question. There are quite a few local teams in Hershey. You take a look at the Class A boys. There's a lot, actually, in all the classifications, except for really 6A, there's local teams. Class A, you have Girard College. They've got a tough matchup. I would say they've got a good chance to win. 2A, Constitution out of the Public League, I think they have a good chance. 3A, 4A, and 5A with Neumann-Goretti, Imhotep, and Archbishop Wood, respectively. I think that there's almost no chance of them losing those games. Those teams are three of the best, not only in the whole state, but in the whole country as well. 6A, the local team, Archbishop Ryan, actually didn't make it, lost to Reading, who is not too far away from here in Philadelphia. They've got a great player in Lonnie Walker going to the University of Miami. They've got a tough matchup with Pine Richland. I'm not sure if they pull that one out. Pine Richland has only lost once this year out of District 7. Great team. So I would say that, Wood, Neumann-Goretti, Imhotep for sure. Constitution probably. So I would say 4 of the boys' teams for sure. Girard College maybe. On the girls' side, Neumann-Goretti in 3A has got a great chance. Archbishop Wood in 5A has a great chance as well. So you could get a couple of District 12 victories there. And then Boyertown, kind of the surprise team in 6A. They have a tough matchup as well. They will play, I believe it's a team from District 7, North Allegheny, the champion from District 7. So Boyertown's got a shot, but I would say Neumann-Goretti and Wood as well. So thank you for that question. Now it came from Mike C. So a lot of local flavor in Hershey. This coming weekend should be a lot of fun, starting tomorrow and then going into Friday and Saturday. We have another question here that came in from Pat D. Oh, this kind of piggybacks off what we just had. Will Archbishop Wood and Neumann-Goretti, boys and girls, sweep their classifications? Well, that's a great question, Pat. Thank you for submitting it. And I kind of answered that in the last question. In 5A, Archbishop Wood, boys and girls, both playing for state championships. In 3A, boys and girls for Neumann-Goretti, both playing for state championships. I think they will sweep. I think there's a really good chance that all of those teams sweep their respective classifications. Archbishop Wood, they're going to take on Strong Vincent out of District 10. They're not very strong. I would say Archbishop Wood, that's Imhotep, sorry. Imhotep in 4A. Takes on Strong Vincent. We'll check out 5A, the Archbishop Wood's matchup. They're going to take on Meadville out of District 10. They beat a good Northeastern team. Northeastern actually knocked off Archbishop Carroll and Upper Merion, 2 local teams. But I would certainly say Archbishop Wood, the boys, are the favorite in there. On the 3A side for the boys, Neumann-Goretti is going to take on Lincoln Park out of District 7. Definitely favored in that game. Again, Neumann-Goretti, one of the best teams in the whole country. On the girls' side, the Neumann-Goretti girls, they take on Bishop Canavan out of District 7. That should be a tough matchup for them, but I think ultimately they will prevail in that one. And then the Archbishop Wood girls takes on Trinity out of District 7. They're always a strong team. They had a tough take with Archbishop Carroll, who Archbishop Wood pretty much handled in the Catholic League semis. So just based on that, I would say the Archbishop Wood girls certainly a good chance of getting to that championship win, just like they did last year. So you're looking at a couple of repeat state champions there. But thank you for the question, Pat D. And again, a reminder, you could submit all your questions using the hashtag AskAriBlue. And also a reminder, tomorrow night we'll have our season finale of Varsity Voice on the Comcast Network. It will air at 6 and 11 p.m. on TCN. Now, because the Flyers are playing in the Central Time Zone, Our Comcast Sportsnet airing will occur on Friday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Also, we have a bonus replay at 2:30 in the morning for those of you who are late nighters as well. And, you can watch all of our past episodes of Varsity Voice on our website, www.thesfbn.com or thesportsfanbasenetwork.com. Either one will get you there. You can watch the past episodes of Varsity Voice. You can check out all of our fresh content, our articles, our photos. We have writers and photographers all over the state playoffs. They were in Springford, we were at Cheltenham, we were at Temple last night, so make sure you check all that out. And of course, you can learn all about SFBN. All right, we're going to get to another question now. This was submitted earlier as well. This comes from Brandon W. Is there a local team that you thought would be in Hershey who didn't make it there? That's a great question. You think about, obviously, there's a ton of local teams. We just talked about them. Kind of going through in my head through by classification. 1A girls, Jenkintown, I thought that they had a real good shot to get there, ended up losing in the semifinals. 2A boys, you knew that MCNS or Constitution would get to the championship game. MCNS, I thought, was going to be the team that would get there. They ended up losing to Constitution last night at Philly U in overtime. A great game. But MCNS, I thought, would get there, but Constitution gets there instead. Not too much of a surprise there. Thinking about some of the other teams, actually, this is a good one. 6A girls. Boyertown, who we just mentioned, upset Cardinal O'Hara, the District 12 and Catholic League champion. That was at Springford. I was at that game. We had a great article on that from one of our great writers, Ray Dunn. It was a phenomenal game, and I would have thought Cardinal O'Hara definitely would have got there. You knew that they would have to play a good team out of District 1. They did beat North Penn, which was a great win in the quarters, but unfortunately couldn't beat Boyertown. And a little bit of an upset, but Boyertown's got a great player in Abby Cap, who's going to Bucknell. Phenomenal player who had the game-winning shot. So Cardinal O'Hara might be the surprise there. And then on the 6A boys side, the fact that there's no District 1 or District 12 teams is a little bit surprising. Roman Catholic and Abington both lost in the first round. We've talked about that on Varsity Voice, and also I've talked about that here on Q&A with Ari Blue. I would have thought that one of those teams would have got there. Archbishop Ryan almost got there. I didn't expect them to even get into the quarterfinals, but they really played a phenomenal state playoffs, and I was really impressed with them in the Catholic League semifinals as well. So I'm not surprised that Ryan didn't get there, but I am surprised that we didn't have a District 12 or District 1 team get to Hershey. But that was a great question, Brandon. Thank you for submitting that. We have a question that came in on Twitter. This is from @Scorpion102585. How do you think the matchup between Lebanon Catholic and Juniata Valley will play out? Great question. Thank you for submitting that on Twitter. That is our Single A Girls Championship. Lebanon Catholic, the champion out of District 3, and Juniata Valley, the second seed out of District 6. They actually beat Bishop Carroll, the champion out of District 6. I would say that Lebanon Catholic will probably win this one. They're the District 3 champ. District 3 is usually pretty strong in girls basketball. They didn't have an easy road to get to this point. In fact, they dominated the District 11 champion, Nativity BVM, won by 20. And then, as we mentioned in the last question, Jenkintown, our District 1 champ locally, they lost to Lebanon Catholic in the semifinals, 41-37. That was the team they lost to. So just based on that, knowing the competition that Lebanon Catholic has played and how good the District 3 teams usually are, I would say that Lebanon Catholic will ultimately win the game. Juniata Valley, they beat Kennedy Catholic, the District 10 champ. That was a pretty impressive win. So I think we're going to see a good game, but I think ultimately Lebanon Catholic will win that game. So thank you for submitting that question. And again, a reminder, as we're starting to wrap up here on Q&A with Ari Blue, we'll be back though. So make sure you check our listings, on our social media, on Facebook and Twitter, as to the next episode, even though Varsity Voice, this is our final episode again on Thursday. We usually like to preview, Q&A with Ari Blue lead into Varsity Voice. But last episode, tomorrow night, 6 and 11 p.m. on the Comcast Network. And again, make sure you check out our website, thesfbn.com or thesportsfanbasenetwork.com to check out all of the latest news on basketball in the state of Pennsylvania, all of our past episodes on Varsity Voice, links to our past broadcasts. We haven't done broadcasts over the last month or so with state playoffs. We've really been focusing on Varsity Voice, but we had a lot of great broadcasts in football season, basketball season, so you can check that out as well. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and thank you to everyone for submitting all the questions. And again, a reminder, watch Varsity Voice, our last episode of the season, tomorrow night, and we'll be back next week with more Q&A with Ari Blue. Thank you again for watching here on Facebook Live. Have a good night.